Panfill?
Panfill.
Question mark.
There, Adam would be a much
Panfill.
better person to answer that question. Because he's done it so much.
Yeah. Panfilling is
The art form of
filling pans.
filling. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the art form
exactly what it sounds
of
like.
filling pans.
But the idea is this: that okay, so where do I even begin with this? The reason why you would fill pans, there's a couple, but one of them would be to get your hot food cooking skill up. But a lot of people use it for secondary purposes, and that's here's Sipico using it to get his mind logic up. But it's basically through hot food cooking. So the idea is you have, I'll scale it down a little bit for everybody. Imagine you have a forge, and in that forge you put 100 pans. Like you just fill it with pans. And then you take 100 meat and 100 veggies that are in your inventory, and you sit there and you just fill, you just fill the pans, like just one meat, one veggie into every single pan. You just spend your time filling it up. And this is while the forge or oven or whatever is off. Once you have all the pans filled up, then you take a kindling and you light the oven, and just as things are going to start turning into the meals, you turn on your sleep bonus. All the meals get popped all at once, and for every meal that gets created, you get a chance at a skill tick, either in hot food cooking or in any of the characteristic skills. So now take that one oven with 100 pans and imagine a room that's filled with possibly 20 ovens, possibly 50 ovens. Each one has 100 pans, and you spend your day just filling the pans. Like while they're all off, you just fill the pans with, some insane amounts of food. And once they're all done filling, then
just light them
you just light them all up, and then you turn on your sleep bonus, and they just pop off like insanity. If your hot food cooking is 1 to begin, and you fill, let's say, I've done up to 50 forges before, and you light up 50 forges all filled with pans that are completely filled and ready to go, your skill is going to be like 60 in hot food cooking or 70 in hot food cooking by the end of it or something.
It's insane.
Good characteristic skill gains as well.
That's why cooking doesn't rely on hot food cooking anymore as its primary ability, or I guess it's the primary ability. It's not all or nothing type of ability. Anyway, so Akakis, you blame Catspur for making you play Wurm, or for you starting to play Wurm. Binge playing from the start. So that, nice. I assume that means that you're enjoying it, or at least finding it interesting enough to play a lot. Cats.
Holly blames Catspur as well.
Oh man. So Holly Dragon, you're saying that's some intense min-maxing. Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people find the whole idea of improving how you skill up, or the ability to maximize the skill gain that you have. I mean, we do videos on that in the past. We talk about it a lot, but it's more about, like, if you're wanting to become a master, anything, a master leatherworker, master blacksmith, then a lot of that isn't just like getting your skill up. A lot of that is actually the skill that you do in the game as a player to make yourself the better blacksmith or whatever, like the setup that you have, and where you're placing forges and where you're placing belt storage bin. All this stuff also takes part in your becoming the master of that profession. So a lot of, like, the min-maxing and that sort of thing, although it might be different in games like where fighting is the main thing, in Wurm it's just like part of the journey. It's the skill in your mind of how you're going to set up everything, and how you're going to imp things or create things and all that stuff. And it's more ingrained in the Wurm game itself, anyway.
Parser says 100. How quaint. Referring to the 100
That's what you were
pans,
saying.
yes.
100 pans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And Sipaku
just
saying he used a forge with 7 backpacks and each had 37 frying pans. That, I used to do that. I used to have it set up that way. You get more backpacks in each forge or whatever. But I did find the extra inventory sort of organization was a little bit more difficult. I was able to fill much quicker if it was just 100 pans, so I switched my setup. And that's why the reason why Wurm players are fat. J Popper Wurm says, we're trying to keep the new player, not drive him away screaming in fear, right? I know, exactly.
Yeah, how are you doing there, Arcacus? You're still
Does
around,
the quality
right?
of the pan help? And that goes along with, is it better to fill pans in the oven or forge or in your pocket than place in the furnace? Okay, so those two kind of go together. And the answer is it depends. So it depends on what your skill is and what your goal is and what your target is. So for Sipaku, whose goal was specifically to get mind logic, my belief, and I could be wrong, but my gut tells me that the best situation is to try to lower the difficulty as much as possible. Make it an easy action. So like make it a meal that has the lowest difficulty. And in that situation, you'll want to use ovens because ovens have a lower difficulty than forges. And the reason is because your characteristic gains don't skill up based on the difficulty of the action. And again, this is a gut feeling. I could be wrong about this. But if your goal is to get hot food cooking up, then the strategy is to try to keep the difficulty of the action closest to your skill, maybe just a bit under your skill. So if your skill is like 40, you'll want to make the action 30 or 35 difficulty or something like that. And using forges can help adjust the difficulty because that'll add 15 to the difficulty. So if you're using a 10 difficulty meal, well, putting it in a forge will make that action 25 difficulty. You can sort of adjust things like that. And that will optimize your hot food cooking game. And it's better to probably fill in the forges. However, it's the person who puts the item into the forge, like you want to make sure that you're the one who puts the pans in the forge. So what people do is they'll fill all the pans and then they'll spend time taking all the pans out and putting them back in, just because it's the person who puts the pans in the forge who gets the skill.
Right.